Yeah. Similarly, when we are making investment recommendations or investment analysis, also some of the things which we have to get in is, as we have already discussed, make due diligence, independence, thorough analysis, and always have a basis for any statement that you are making, supported by appropriate research before you make any kind of a investment recommendation to your client. And it's the same thing you'll apply if you are performing in a supervisory role. Any of your subordinates making any such kind of a recommendation, you have to make sure that you understand it and you are responsible for that. And so we are talking about the thoroughness of the research and any kind of an investigation at whatever. See, sometimes we are in the habit of using the secondary or some third party researches. Someone has done a recommendation, so we want to use it. Make sure how good is that recommendation, analyze on that, and probably even when you are quoting it saying this is from this source, don't quote it as just that you have seen. You actually evaluate the thoroughness of that. Sometimes, okay, economy is going to fall, right? But see, you say, okay, source this one, right? You are mentioning the source, so it does not go as a part of a misrepresentation at least, right? When you are mentioning the source and saying, okay, the economy is going to fall, source this. But there is a difference, okay, do you know that this source is a authentic source? Or is it a reliable kind of a source? Just to dump your project, don't copy paste something from somewhere without assessing the reasonableness or the reality behind that third party or secondary kind of a research activity, right? And so whenever we are getting into a group research or group decision making, even if a member does not agree with the independent and objective view of the group, he does not necessarily have to be declined to be identified with the report. You can, even if you are a member of the group, even if you are not agreeing something to it, make sure that it is highlighted individually from your side, that you are not in composition with the group or in tandem with the group. And whenever you are doing any kind of communication with your clients or prospective clients, you disclose what method you have used. Transparency is very much required. What method you have used to analyze the investments, right? Is it something your sixth sense or seventh sense, or you have done some kind of a research, or for what basis you are asking the client to really do a buy or a sell? So the logic behind it or your research behind it, what made you select XYZ securities, on what basis you have constructed this portfolio. If the client asks for details, you should have an answer to explain all of them to the client, and what factors they are considering as an important things, as a on what basis these particular investments are being chosen for this particular client. There should be a proper explanation for the same, and you always distinguish between fact and opinion, and both of them have to be very clearly distinguished and separately mentioned as a part of the recommendation or as a part of the report that you are creating. And whenever see, again, overstating and understating should not be done, and the suitability of each investment to each person has to be clearly explained. It's not again a general report saying because this economy is growing like this company had registered this much of a profit, we ask all our customers to go for a buy recommendation on this. That's not the advice that has to go, because each person has a different levels of risk taking. So we have to ensure that the entire person by person or individual by individual analysis is done, and the suitability of a particular investment plan to that particular client is considered in completely. And it's also said that the records, whatever are being used, whatever the written or analysis, recommendations, all of them, you retain them, because in future some kind of legal issues arise or any other things come up, you have a proper backup for all of them. At least it says, if no other regulatory company wise, if there is no rule on how many years of retention of that data, even the emails or some such things, CFA Institute recommends that at least a 7-year holding period for all of them are there. For some companies, they may say for 20 years we'll retain the data. Then keep it for 20 years. But if there is no such thing at a company level, CFA Institute recommends that at least 7 years retention period of the records have to be done. In any format. Any kind of a recommendation you are providing, or any kind of a report you are creating, any kind of interaction which you are having with your client, in all these things, whatever the records that are there, make sure that they are existing at least for a 7-year period. And in case there is a conflict of interest, disclose. Disclosure is a very important thing. Full and fair disclosure of all matters, whatever are having some kind of issues. I mean, client A and client B, there is some kind of a conflict that is going in those things. So bring to the notice of all the parties the conflict of interest. It could be your internal employers and all, and at the same time your prospect clients or even the existing clients also. So let there not be any kind of an ambiguity. Put it in a plain language and communicate it without any kind of ambiguity in it. Potential areas of conflict should be disclosed and allow clients and prospects to judge motives and the potential biases for themselves. Let the client decide. But from your side, you put it very clearly to both your clients where the conflict of interest is coming up. As far as my judgment is concerned, if this could violate my ethics in case I am giving you a better deal compared to my other client, the same thing you communicate with others, let them decide what they want to go with. And disclosing the marketing activities, all the market making activities, giving some kind of a benefit here versus if this guy benefits, obviously this guy has to lose. So at least provide a clarity in terms of on what basis you will give your decision to both the parties. And so disclosing actual ownership of the stock. Okay. See, sometimes it can go to an extent, you give a buy recommendation for X company, but internally in the X company you may hold good number of shares in X as an individual. Let's say I am recommending Infosys to my client to buy. I am holding some thousands of shares of Infosys. What is essential is I should disclose that I am holding 1000 shares of Infosys, but I am recommending Infosys to you to buy, not because I am holding the shares of Infosys and I want the share price to go up, but primarily because it's an objective and independent research that I have done, and there is a possibility that Infosys share price can still go up in future. That is how the analysis should come out. So if you don't disclose that you are having 1000 shares, then there could be a possibility that the client may feel that you are asking him to buy Infosys shares because you want the share price to go up because you are holding the shares in that. That kind of scenario you should not give to your client to talk about. So whenever we are talking about the priority, that is what I am mentioning. The client transaction takes a priority over the personal transaction. But whenever we are talking about even your family members or something, if you are treating your family members as a client, see, family members accounts that are the client accounts. If you are treating your family member as a client, treat them on the same way as you treat other clients. That differentiation should not come out. But it doesn't mean that those family members you should give a least responsibility for them. As long as they are your client accounts, they are same as any other client accounts. And referral fees and all these things, anything that you are, sometimes it's a very common thing in a lot of businesses. You refer some other customer, probably there is some kind of a fee that you are getting out of it. But all these things, it says you disclose all this information to your employer and even to the person who is giving you that benefit. To everyone, let there be a proper disclosure as far as the referral fees are concerned. And as a CFA member or a CFA exam candidate, some of the things, I think most of these things for any exam, these are applicable. Right? No cheating on CFA, not following the rules, giving confidential, this is one thing. Giving confidential information on CFA program to the candidates or to the public. Something which you should not divulge, especially about the exam paper. On the public internet site saying question 1, question 2, question 3. That kind of thing as exam takers, you should not use them. And misrepresenting the information on the professional code. You writing something, especially discussing that the question paper is the question paper they have they gave some questions outside the syllabus. Such kind of discussion should not be done, and the code of conduct should not be violated. And especially about expressing their opinion, oh, CFA exam is not a good exam, it doesn't have any kind of a value. As a member, you are not supposed to speak all those kind of things. And especially when we are talking about CFA institute, membership, designation, all these things, no misrepresentations. The CFA designation and all, there are some valid formats in which you have to write yourself. Here you have to say, right now I am a CFA level 1 candidate. Right? Or once you complete your level 1 and you register for level 2, you can say you are a CFA level 2 candidate. So, no misrepresentations as far as any of these things. There are some prescribed formats that are there. Only in those formats you have to write all your designations. No over promises. Just because you are a CFA, you can't do wonders. No over promises. So those things you have to be slightly comfortable with. Just because I am a CFA, you come to me, I will give you 15% return. No such kind of deals, right? And no guaranteed promises or no guarantees at any point in time. But at the same time, just to maintain the membership, you have to sign. Sign the PCS, pay the annual fee. These are some of the things which are there even on the website. Professional conduct wise, you have to sign it, as well as you have to pay annual membership fee on a yearly basis. This is what will retain your CFA membership, and there is nothing called partial designation. Yes or no? So complete the program in 3 years, but completing it in 3 years should not be talked about as superior performance. Sometimes people keep writing, within 18 months I have completed all the 3 levels of CFA. Don't use it as an advantage factor. Keep it as, okay, cleared in first attempt, good. But that should not add up with objectives saying, I'm very good at investments because I have cleared CFA. It should not be something like that. Okay, probably if you want to keep it as a sales material saying, cleared all 3 levels in the first attempt or completed CFA within 18 months. But that should not be like, I'm very good at investment because I have cleared CFA like this. So let that things do not come out. Alright.